Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Ansar Gilani, English commentator at the entire sports, instructor at intercultural studies, social sciences, English literature, and international relations. As you know well, I am at the trend setting, and trend setting depends as to how you are to read the very environment that is present around and surround you, because the more you are living in a company, living in an atmosphere of living in an environment that is either leaving side effects on you, or it is making you or breaking you. But after all, wherever you are to visit, wherever you are to knock the door, wherever you are to tell the man or person, wherever you are to go around, the very intimation and close attachment, your ideas are either polluted, contaminated, or uplifted, groomed, and your secluding largely depends at where you do visit regularly and where from you get all education, where from you get all the administration of the soul, mind, heart, and body, because these are four areas which are all time undergoing the effects. So when we do visit our the intimate one and the close one, we just start talking to each other, or group of people, group of persons, or group of intimacies. They are playing their role for the welfare and betterment of the individual, or of the getting closer and far at the distance going. So when we talk about any kind of point, any kind of conflict, whatever we bring under discussion, it become either injecting others, affecting others, or directing others, or instructing others. So words are having somewhat poisonous effects, or somewhat you can say inspirational effect. Whatever we are now in the present world are truly the picture of our words, what mainly we think, what mainly we get effect of, what do we read, what do we visit, what do we get influence, and what do we get impression and inspirations from others. It is all in the modern age is getting and giving, either instead of some kinds, or some state of words, some state of situations that we are to confront day and night. It is giving somewhat you can say a guideline. So we should be very aware of the words, because words could put you into troubling thoughts, or they could put you into healing the mind and healing the body even, because the serenity and the sobriety of the mind and personality leaves a very positive effect on others. In the same manner, the words, if are somewhat having directed and target messages, knowing the facts and figures of others, because when we live and visit within a particular circuit, it starts somewhat preaching kind of effect on us, or you can say teaching kind of, or it is somewhat you can say crouching on others' minds. So we should be more careful about our words. Our words should be uh, guiding the people, not you can say ruining others' minds, because the things that are all time under working is either to make relationing for our betterment of character and personality, or for cause of the loss for others and themselves. People are become very clever in today's world. They do visit different sites. They visit, you can say, different internet and electronic resources, printer sources, and they are going around the world to know something new on the daily grounds, and they are to bring it into the market. They are to bring it to the people in question. They are to bring it to the affecting of others, and for you can say by one way or the other way, either it is their individual training or their collective training, whatever they are to get from the society, get from the electronic and print media sources or whatever. Even in the present age, parents are a source, teachers are the source, and you can say the friends are the source, and society is in the larger sense is a source, and media in itself having thousands and thousands of channels across the world are underviewed, and they leave somewhat impact upon us, because if we have no wider perspective and wider area of contact in our life, it could poison us, it could ruin us, and it could leave us something what we don't know in our real sense. So the things are already on record, and everything that comes across to us is somewhat having a close relationing effect by words, by cinematic views, or by reading. We should be very, very fast enough to pace up with the demands of the world. Pace up with the demands of the world does not mean that is we should be very clever enough how to dodge others and how to play a trick on others. Rather, we should be clever enough to how to avoid of others' cleverness and trick of the playing, because every person in the world is a source to help out others, not to you can say destroy or to be source of destruction for others. A person having different kind of circles of influence, if he if a person sits among the right kind of minded people, surely a person will turn out to be right minded and will turn out to be a preacher like kind of person. He could appear to be a generous towards others in giving knowledge, in giving resources to access, and try to help out others from miseries and plights that are confronting in the life. No one is as a whole to be authoritarian. Everyone needs help instead of distress, instead of crisis. And crisis could be of multiple kinds. It could be of financial, it could be of character, it could be of vision, it could be of education, it could be of you can say better sources to be availed, better environment to be availed. So you can say the things which are presently being felt, that electronic media and the print media and the sources present around us in the present age are highly fast one. We should try to understand the chemistry and the mechanism of each and every word, every message, every person, and every situation, instead of confrontation or instead of discussion or instead of reading the affairs of the life. So It is high time to understand the world, understand the ways of the world, and understand the waves of the even world, what kind of waves are and movements are coming into the world. Either you are whatever religion point of view or cultural point of view or traditional point of view or customary or you can say tribal point of view or regional and territorial point of view. After all, you are human being. You need somewhat cooperation. You need somewhat coordination. A person being highly, you can say, intelligent could be ruined if cooperation and coordination of right-mindedness is not present there, could be spoiled. And even a person of average, you can say, level or average personality or average intelligence could be set to reach to the heights of the life if cooperation and coordination is there. So largely it depends how we are to meet with the people and how to understand them and what are the sources of understanding them. Knowledge in your background will affect. If you are from a rich class, you would be of the sharp mind and could understand the situation in question in a better way. If you are from the poor class, might be having some effect of the rich minds or minds of well observation. Those who have sharp eye to read out the things, they have been going around the world, experiencing around the world and experiencing and visiting around the world the genders and the different fashionistic and glamorous kind of driven situations. Either people are hollow inside, shallow inside, or visionary inside, but by one way or the other way they have something extra and that needed to be shared. If they are extra clever, must be read out, and if they are simple, they must be helped out, and they are to be made as to how they are to stay away from the evil forces present in them, around and surrounding them. They could be exploiters, they could be you can say manipulators. So we need to be with going of the world. Good people must be encouraged out, helped out, and bad people must be even helped out and made able to be pure and made able to be you can say well directed in life. And bad people doesn't mean we should avoid of them and we should stay away from them. Rather, we are to go close to them like a preacher, as a religious person. Leaving them would not be the only solution that the boycott will make them well. No. We are to be strong by character, we are to be strong by personality, we are to be strong by vision, and we are to be strong by philosophy of the life. That's why we are to go nearer to each person of the world to get it corrected. If bad, must be read out, must be helped out at the level of spirituality and the level of intellectuality, at the level of physicality, and at the level of, you can say, originality. What the origin of the sources that are, you can say, contributing factors to spoil the man or to destroy the persons in questions. So we are, as a modern man, everyone is leading towards or heading towards individualism, because more and more barriers are gonna broken, and the world is widening, and people's influences are becoming stronger and stronger on others, and the economic stability has brought the people into individualism. And when individualism comes, there are the chances of egoistic approach to be developed, self-centeredness to be developed. Everyone tries to be king of the world, everyone tries to be the prince and princess and the king of their liked and desired kingdom. So we should not be the worshipper of our ego, worshipper of our you can say bad intention or bad wishes. We should you can say create space for others. If there are the chances you can help out the person to go on in the world, to improve at the world, to increase the resources. You must come out for that one. For example, if you are a rich one, you are going to, you can say, pay the resources. You can lift up a poor child from a downtrodden family and area, and from the lowest class, and you can get it admitted and registered in a elite school. From schooling to the uh, college, and college to the from college to the universities, you can get her or him to be made rich at the mind first, and then he or she will, when after being graduated, will go to the world, will break the circle of poverty of the family in a haste way, as if a poor person is left at the mercy of the circumstances. Might poverty and a poor family turn into richness after hard work of 50 or 60 years, where three of the generations will be consumpted in it, and then the richness will take start. In this way, we might consume or burn three generations. But if we become a helping hand by a rich source or by a state source, if state sponsors all the, you can say, children of the state sponsored with education and to help out them to reach to the excellence, that's okay. But when we talk about the Asiatic states, Asian countries, they become, you can say, helpless, resourceless, and truly are depending at the parental assistance and patronage and support. And if the parents are rich one, they could let let their children to reach to the highest order of the life, professionally and ethically and morally and whatever things are involved in the making and breaking of the character. And if the parents are, you can say, poor one, they would not be able to afford how to drive the family and their children. Surely they will get them registered with with factories and industries and working class, and they will rise as a labor class. Underage employment will come to it, because when they are unable to run the family without having a sound money over at home, they will surely put their, you can say, children into cauldron of the world, and how they will get their education. As far as the training of the world or the training of the person is concerned, so parental role, we can't deny it. It's need to make them able to get their children to be, you can say, availed for a while, then they could be made able to rise in life. And if we are healthy, we can go for donation of the world, and that will help out the diseased people and weak people, and weaknesses will be end out. And if you are educated one, apart from your professional earning, you can play your role of as a matter of generosity to lift up the poor sections of the society to be geared up for their purposes. So when we talk about as to how everyone could play a role in the making and the breaking of the society, because if you are an independent citizen mean you are going with the full of the resources. God has gifted you richness, gifted you with the rightful resources that make you able to live in a sound way. You are not the owner of the all resources. God has given you as a test how much you are to give feedback and pay back to the poverty and ignorance driven kind of section of the society to be helped out. So every entity, every person in the world has somewhat liability and responsibility, and they are to go up in the life, as well as they are to lift up the people, those who are flattened at the land and earth level, they are to be lifted and they are to be made able to be a proud citizen of the world. I hope my this one message that everyone is a contributor in the making and in the breaking of the world. We should have the finest words, we should have best words, we should have the finest teachings towards others. We can play a vital role in the making of the society, and as well we can play a vital role in the you can say breaking of the world, breaking of the lives, breaking of the societies. So having resources does not mean you are to end the honor of other peoples, and the respect of others people, and the resources of the other people. Either they are becoming rich and educated when you are not to be feared of their advancement, rather you are to help out that every entity and every citizen has the right to rise in life and has the right to accept something and reject something, elect something and reject something. So the choice of election and selection and rejection must come out at every level. So you have the right to elect someone, reject someone, select someone, and object someone, but with sensibility and refinability, not just making objection without having a particular information and particular awareness. Just we start criticizing other as we make backbiting to other people's in a practicing way. We are to come out of all the shells and all the, you can say, the present of such things which could spoil us and spoil others and could make us what we can't expect of others. So the right kind of thinking could only be counted when we have such intelligence and wisdom that should be applied in the benefit of the human being. No, you will be aware of all the things and questions that I discussed one by one, that the globalization's impact, industrialization's impact, and you can say the impact of largely what the media is showing across the board, across the world, that needed to be understood rightfully. For example, what is the difference between East and West? The question is mostly arisen that East or West, what is the best, or which one is the best? East has its own roots in its the oldest civilization, as in Indo-Pak, Aryan society, the Aryan Samaj, that is considered to be the oldest one, and the Indians represent the oldest civilizations, and America, you can say, represents the latest civilization, the most modern and the post-modern kind of civilization. As well as we would like to say that West represents technology and East represents ideology. So largely you will come to know that the Eastern countries like Gulf countries and SAARC countries, largely you can say they are ideological driven, because the big section of the, largely the whole sections of the prophets, you can say, came at the land of Arabia. The land of Arabia, you know well, is known for prophets and the preachers of the world, and slowly and gradually their practices and teachings spread all around the world, and that changed the whole environment. And in the West, you can say that are cold countries, and the Eastern countries are hot countries. And the people living in the Eastern belt, when we say about the civilization, they are more deeper at the ideologies, at some areas of life which makes them more deeper. Being hot countries, you know well the impact of weather conditions, impact of you can say the the living standards and thinking patterning effect on the human life. For example, Arabia, that is land of prophets, has been so hot, but the preachers have been coming there and have been, you can say, tempering their, rather, you can say, uh, not tempering, rather, they have been making right kind of temperaments and right kind of thinking people and try to be built up them on such grounds that being living in hot countries, because hot countries mostly make the people of hot temperament, and they become rigid, they become stagnate at the you can say compromising, some egoistic kind of situation is arising, so they become rigid and stubborn and so strong that they do not welcome any kind of opposition that is coming from others. In the same way, as we talk about Western countries are largely the Europeans, as well as they have been, you can say, cold countries, and the people who get past in the cold countries, they are at the zero or minus, you can say, temperatures, and temperatures also affect not pacing reactions, rather making them people and persons of high mentality and deeper reflections and deeper having impact upon their life, because impact to life is largely followed. If we talk about the westerns and you can say the coldest countries, their temperaments are somewhat solid and strong, and but they got somewhat education from people present around the world. The best preacher reached being conquers on them, but they got something well from rest of the world. As England and France and Ireland have been, you can say, nourished and cherished with the finest civilization, good impact of the literature, particularly religion reached there late, but literature reached to them, and that made them a high refinability and sensitivity, as from Greeks reached to Germany and Italy, and then it traveled through some of the Muslims areas, and finally stepping into France, and France became the premature or pre-reader to the English society in 13 and 14th century. So that made them able to all to go across the world. So they started living by humans, and you know well Western's philosophy and the Western studies and Western's, you can say, cult of life largely left the deep-seated impact upon the human minds and tried to make the human beings to be the people of high caliber. And there, you know, have been plenty of other civilizations that has been ruling in the world with their high standards of morality, like Romans, like Persian empires, like German and Italians, and English and Muslims, and Greeks, and many of other, you can say, the civilization came into the world, but they all rise in their world, rise in their spheres, rise in their concerned areas, and left a deep impact, deep-seated impact upon the human minds. That was all how they were civilized inside, how they were disciplined and controlled and refined inside. Your outwardness is never seen when your country is to rise to the excellence, and that country in shape of advancement that is going to the world as colonization or weaponization or to controlization to the rest of the world. They appear to be as civilized one, and they try to send their uh, people with soldiership and with intellectualship, and to make other worlds aware of the life. So in vaster way, if we start thinking, there are many of the areas much need is there to be addressed and to be trained. So main thing is that we should be aware of our words, what we are saying, what we are listening, because words are the powers, words are the weapon through which we are to reach to the hearts, or we are to breach to the heart and reach to the relationship or to breach the relationships. Thank you very much. I am Ansar Gilani. You can visit at interculture kind of studies by sending question at the number 0332 550 3783 0315 504 1975. Allah Hafid. Thank you very much.